At this point, I have to ask, are you a speedo guy or the big panty thing?
It doesn't matter. I'm out natural.
Like the trees, you like to save yourself as well. Fair enough, yeah.
I got hold of a friend of mine, Pradeep Upur, who was with me at that.
Who had no interest in diving.
Who had no interest in diving because he didn't know.
6 o'clock in the morning.
He didn't know how to swim.
Yeah.
But
What are you saying?
I didn't know that. So I forced him
What?
to come with me. I said, "You don't
That's
dive.
murder, Prahlad.
You just come with me." So he really reluctantly got up at 5:30 and came with me.
1 minute, if he doesn't know how to swim, why is he coming?
No, he came for the outing like I did, yeah.
Did he know you were going to throw him in the water? Or?
No.
This is my story with Pepsi. You're just stealing it. He asked Mr. Bachchan. Let's see where they start. They started with Amitabh Bachchan.
He
says no comment.
No, he said no problem. This is how much I charge.
Yeah.
So they all shat. And can be only two kinds of people in this world.
Yeah.
The Aishwarya Rai and the Prahlad Kakar.
Correct. Let's pause for a minute and digest that.
Digest that.
Very painful moment, yeah. Okay, this is part 2. Part 1 is done. It's taken us some time to find Prahlad because you're very busy. Hey, by the way, before we go back to the book, on the internet, there's an ad of yours which kept coming. My wife was showing me the other day. You in a hat selling plots of land somewhere in Maharashtra.
In Karjat.
In Karjat.
Yeah.
What's going on? It's see, everybody knows about it.
Of course.
You're a zamindar quietly.
No. A friend of mine came into 300 acres of beautiful.
What do you mean came into? What does that happen to us?
But he did.
Means he inherited it or he
No. He did a deal with the original landowner, who was
He robbed some poor tribal guy of his land.
No. He was a seed company who had bought this land about 25 years ago and planted a forest there with teak. And other foresting, and forgot about it.
Wow.
And 25 years later, they came back and they found a full-fledged forest.
Yeah.
Where there was nothing, actually, originally.
Yeah.
And then he tried to sell it and made farm plots and tried to sell it. But he wasn't a marketing guy, so didn't get too much headway because everybody in Karjat today is trying to sell their land, especially all the farmers. And sell it to 2-3 people at the same time. So,
oh, nice. So we all own the same plot?
Yeah.
I like that thinking. Now that's marketing 101, bro. I like that.
So these chaps came to me and said, we'll give you a share in the company. You come and join the company and help us market this land. And then they were looking for a brand ambassador and they couldn't afford anybody because they asked Mr. Bachchan.
This is my story with Pepsi. You're just stealing it. He asked Mr. Bachchan. Let's see where they start. They started with Amitabh Bachchan. He says no comment.
No, he said no problem. This is how much I charge.
Yeah.
So they all shat. And and then they muddled around a little bit. They said, we need some face. So did they look at me? And they say, you are recognizable. So I said, yeah, there can be only two kinds of people in this world.
Yeah.
The Aishwarya Rai and the Prahlad Kakar.
Correct.
You are the very beautiful where you stop everybody in the tracks. So it's the very ugly where you stop everybody in the tracks anyway.
But the pressures on Aishwarya, because she has to age as well as you've aged. Think of it that way also. Things change with the years.
So they said, okay, can we put your mug on the hoarding? I said, be my guest. I've always wanted to be on a hoarding.
Yeah.
on the highway, scaring all my friends and saying, what's the guy doing?
You and 3 others.
What's the guy doing on a hoarding? I used to suffer from nightmares. Now he's come alive. And so they put me up. And I must say that they managed to sell a hell of a lot of land.
They have. Do you get a commission?
Of course.
You get a commission on sales?
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic, bro. But that's not fair because when we endorsed Pepsi or whatever, we never got any commission on bottles that were sold.
But then Pepsi is sort of Pepsi, no?
Yeah.
This is one piece of land which became a jungle by itself.
So how much is a plot cost?
It's about 70 to 80 lakhs of the plot per acre.
Yeah.
You can't build on less than an acre because it's farm.
Right.
And it's green zone.
But you want an acre also. Why have you bought land? You can't just have
land. But the best idea I gave them was, the marketing plan was, they don't sell the land. Everybody's selling land.
So what do you sell? You sell the villagers?
The trees.
Sorry?
You sell the trees.
Without the land?
With the land.
Oh, just be clear.
25-year-old trees.
Wow.
To grow a tree takes 25 years.
True.
Can you imagine? You go buy a fallow piece of land and start growing trees, and then you're waiting for the damn tree to grow up.
I love owning trees.
It
sounds wrong, but it's great.
No, there are 40 to 80 trees per acre.
Excellent.
And they're huge.
Yeah. And by the way, 40 trees is 120.
Yeah.
40, 80, 120. 40.
So
let's pause for a minute and digest that.
Digest that.
Very painful moment. Yeah.
So we've made it a kind of a rule within the properties and the owners, and who are very PLU types,
Okay.
People like us who love trees, love open nature, that you can't cut a tree to make a house. You make the house around the tree.
But how do you guarantee that they won't cut the tree?
Because they're not allowed to.
But what does that mean? I mean, once you own the land, you own the land. No one's checking.
No. It's adjusting a reserve forest. The forest guys will come and...
So you counted the trees on the land? And
everything.
Yeah.
There's a whole census done.
Yeah.
And so if anybody cuts a tree, you can cut the undergrowth.
Now, if the tree dies on its own, then can you cut the tree?
I suppose so.
Check this out, Prahlad.
Then, if you want to kill a tree, you can kill it with acid.
A tree.
Yeah. You can kill a tree with acid and say it died.
So then you murdered the tree and you're saying that it killed itself.
Yes.
In a sense. This is very tricky. This whole land scam thing is above my pay grade. I can't understand it.
But anyway, the point is that we've got a community today which is sworn by the fact that the assets are trees. And that they have a privilege to live among the trees.
And what kind of trees are they?
They're all kinds. It's forest.
Oh, right.
But then we've got a nursery with grown mango trees, fruiting trees, and flowering trees, which they want to increase their green cover. They can, and we do it for them.
So there's this tree called marijuana, which is very famous in South America.
Correct.
I hope that's not one of the trees.
Well, that grows by itself.
Okay. And it's an accident. Nobody knows how this happens.
Nobody actually knows.
But don't harm the trees, even whatever the hell they're carrying. That's fine.
And the marijuana is not a tree. It's considered underbrush.
How you know so much, sir?
So they can... My son has done a PhD on it.
What?
When he was 16 years old.
Family's proud. When he was 16. I can see a member of parliament for environment. Save the world. But we brought this up very quickly because we're making fun again and joking about it. But you've been an environmentalist. Last time so much we couldn't talk about.
Yes.
And we stopped at the point where you started your journey
in
ad films. We'll try and get back there, obviously. But side by side, I don't know when it happened. You became, the second avatar of yours where you became really famous was this whole Lakshadweep thing. I'm not sure how that happened. And nobody thinks of you as a diver when they see you for the first place. But you were the original.
I was the first.
The first?
I was the first person to start a diving school owned by Indians in India.
Yeah. So where did it come from?
See, I was on a holiday in Mauritius and some friends were going.
By now you're a famous filmmaker, right?
Yeah.
So this is not, you're already established yourself there.
And a relatively good cook.
No, very good cook. He's unnecessarily being modest. Very good cook.
So
slant towards fish, which I don't like that much, but very good cook. Yeah.
So
which is all because he's Punjabi.
We went to Mauritius for a business conference. And I had a day spare and I was hanging around, and these people where I was staying said, "We're going diving, you want to come?" So I said, "No, I don't know how to dive and I don't want to come diving. It's too cold." It was October. It was bloody freezing in the water.
At this point I have to ask, are you a speedo guy or the big panty thing?
It doesn't matter. I'm out natural.
Like the trees, you like to save yourself as well. Fair enough, yeah.
So I said, but I'll come along because it looks like a good outing. So it looks like a picnic. So they said, fine, you come on the boat with us. So I 6:30 in the morning, I got onto the boat and went off in the middle of the sea. These guys all jumped off with all the equipment and disappeared.
Like flippers and all that, right?
Yeah. They disappeared. And I'm sitting on this boat, rocking gently, feeling queasy. And feeling seasick. So I'm saying, shit, now this is terrible. I'm getting seasick. So I told the boat guy, please drop me back to the shore because I'm really feeling ill. So he said, no chance. I can't leave the divers. That's my first responsibility. So you just handle it. So I said, how do I handle it? He said, just get into the water. So I said, will I stall it? He said, yes. So he gave me a mask and flippers and threw me off the boat. And in the water, and immediately my queasiness went off. But I looked down and I could see forever. I could actually see. I could see the divers, I could see the coral, I could see the fish. And I just stayed like that, spread eagled on top of the thing, watching all these people.
Imagine what the fish were thinking.
Yeah, exactly. And it was fascinating. So when they came back, I got hold of the instructor and said, please, can you take me on a test dive? I want to learn.
What's a test drive?
Test dive, yeah. So I want to learn, So he said, when are you flying? I said, tomorrow evening. He said, no chance. You can't dive because you need 12 hours before you.
But are they supposed to train you before you get in the water like that?
Yeah, but they have to take you on what is called a handheld dive, not to get you sort of initiated into the whole thing before you start learning the physics.
Right.
Of
how to dive and how to go down underwater.
So first it's a handheld dive. They just give you the basic signals of are you okay, are you not okay, and so forth and so on.
But handheld, they actually hold your hand?
Actually hold your hand.
Or whatever's available?
No, they hold your hand.
Okay.
Yeah. And
whatever's available.
And so I badgered him, and he said, no chance. He's a very strict sort of guy. So I said, just take it down to 5 meters. It's not going to do any harm. Thought about it and says, yeah, okay, you come tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock before anybody else comes. And I'll take you for a bathroom dive. It's called a bathroom dive, So I got hold of a friend of mine, Pradeep Upur, who was with me at that.
Who had no interest in diving.
Who had no interest in diving because he didn't know
6 o'clock in the morning.
He didn't know how to swim.
Yeah.
But
what are you saying?
I didn't know that. So I forced him to come with me. I said, you don't
That's
dive.
Murder, Prahlad.
You just come with me. So he very reluctantly got up at 5:30 and came with me.
1 minute, if he doesn't know how to swim, why is he coming?
No, he came for the outing like I did, yeah.
Did he know you were going to throw him in the water? Or?
No.
Oh, he didn't know.
So, and I convinced Oog, who was instructor, that there were two of us, that it would be worth his while, because we were both going to pay.
Right.
And I didn't tell this to Pradeep. So he landed up there and then with me, and then we were looking for the instructor. He was late. So we went looking for him, found his house, went to his house. He was very grumpy because he didn't want to take us actually. But then when we forced him to, we realized we'd come all the way. So he took us. So he said, okay, whichever one of you want to go first? Went on the boat, went off the reef. So I looked at Pradeep. Pradeep said, I don't know how to swim. So... and he's kitted up,
Yeah.
He's in his wetsuit and...
Why is he doing it? It's called suicide.
You tell him I don't know how to swim. So I told Oak, I said he doesn't know how to swim. So he looks at me, stares at me actually, and darkly and says, okay, doesn't matter. You come with me. And he takes Pradeep off first, before me. And they both go off.
5 meters is still almost 20 feet.
You can drown on 2 meters, forget about 5. So anyway, Pradeep is looking a little panicky and he catches his hand, tells him how to breathe and deflates his jacket and takes him down. And they disappear. I couldn't see the bubbles. And about 20 minutes later, whoosh, they come up, looking ecstatic. Pradeep is like beaming face to face. So I said, how's it? He says, fantastic. So now I can't even chicken out, because while they were...
This miracle, you're like Jesus. How did this guy get in the water and how did he not drown?
While there were 20 minutes of me waiting there, I was having desperate second thoughts.
Yeah.
I said, no, this is not happening, So I thought I'd say, no, I'm not feeling too well when they came up. Now this guy who doesn't know how to swim comes up and says, fantastic. Now there's no way that
How did he swim? I don't understand.
No, he held his hand and took him along.
He went all the way down?
All the way down. And
with that thing on, that's it?
With the thing on all the way around. And showed him fish and all that rubbish.
Pradeep's so stupid, he didn't know he was drowning.
But he was on such a high because of the fear of drowning that
I can imagine.
He must have been like flying,
It's a huge thing to do.
It's a big thing. So I said, okay, very reluctantly, I said, chalo, we'll go. So I went down and he grabbed me, deflated my jacket, went down. And I was like struggling and breathing. I was hyperventilating. So instead of doing the kind of breathe, I was going, thinking any time the bloody air will cut off. Anyway, my needle of my meter, tank meter was going like this, almost hitting reserve. But I saw something fluttering on the reef.
Shock.
No, it was fluttering. It was like look like something alive but dead. So I pulled that hook and I pointed to it and I said, "What's that?" Like asking, "What's that?" All underwater signs. So he leaves my hand and says,
Go see.
"Go see."
Yeah.
So I sort of waddle up to this reef and I look at it and it's a book.
Eh?
It's a book where the tide is sort of fluttering the leaves. The book was open.
Okay, it was just the book lying there.
Yeah, it was lying there, but it was in Urdu.
Was it this book?
No, it was in Urdu.
You could read Urdu in that?
No, I couldn't read Urdu, but I knew that it was Urdu because I recognized it. Yeah. So I closed the book, put it in my jacket, and so I'm back to him. And he said, "What is it?" I said, "Book." I showed him. So we come up, and
Manto swam here.
Yeah,
That's the name of the...
I come up and I look at the book and it's a Quran.
Oh, wow. Oops. Yeah.
I said, "Oops, the Quran."
How would it land up there?
I have no idea. Okay. So I washed...
spiritual moment in the sea.
Yeah, so I washed this thing and I give it to the university and say, "I found it on the reef. I got to know how old it is. Might be new, might be old. But you guys can know what to do with it. But it's full of salt, so you have to wash it properly before it disintegrates." And 5 years later, exactly from that date, I founded the first scuba diving school in India on a 90% Muslim island.
Wow.
Called Lakshadweep.
Look at the connect.
Look at the connect.
Amazing.
Serendipity.
Really? But I'm more interested in the other character, Pradeep. I want to make a picture on this guy. What kind of nutcase who doesn't know how to swim, goes by choice and goes first to bat for the country. And then comes out really happy.
Comes out ecstatic.
And you, the swimmer, who's having second thoughts, were worried in the water.
Completely.
And then you were saved by some spiritual moment, a holy book comes in, becomes like a Hindi film. But this guy, he's like the world's most stupid man.
Exactly. No, not stupid. I think he was very brave.
Very brave. But they say bravery and stupidity go together. But then he became a diver as well?
No, he didn't. No. He didn't try that again. But he said, "This is the high moment of my life."
Yeah, wow. He's crossed the threshold in a sense. Yeah. Broken through the glass ceiling.
We just lost him about 2 months ago. But
the king of timing, aren't we?
But
first, it turns out to be the holy book we're saying all kinds of things.
He was a great guy. He was.
We should rehearse our conversations.
He was a friend and a support right through my career.
Yeah. And in a way, your second innings, which is not second innings, your parallel innings, because it all happened at the same time.
Yeah.
And in a sense, you were the first environmentalist amongst the South Mumbai or Bandra, Holpoi.
Except for Bittu Saigal and his family.
But Bittu only wants to say the tiger. He doesn't like cats.
No, but I took Bittu diving and then he started wanting to...
He was looking for tigers in the sea? Where is tiger, mate?
Tiger in the sea is the sharks.
But do you have them in Lakshadweep?
Of course.
Have you been encounter where...
If you don't encounter a shark during a dive, you just watch it. It's beautiful. It's so evolved.
Why did it eat you?
No, of course not. They're not. Human beings taste awful, yeah.
I'm not going to ask him how he knows. There's no need to.
I mean, full of toxins and God knows what we consume.
So they eat by mistake, you say?
If they're very, very hungry and there's nothing else, then they try to take a chomp at you.
What kind of, are these the big size tiger sharks, bull sharks, those kind of sharks?
I've seen a tiger. I've seen...
No, so when you're swimming, when you're diving, they're close to you?
Well, the tiger was. But otherwise we have reef sharks. Mostly reef sharks.
But you don't panic?
Nothing.
And you don't put any of those repellent ointment and
all that? No.
I heard it doesn't really work. Heard from a guy who was being eaten. I tell you, Sharma, इसमें कुछ नहीं है.
No.
मक्खन है बेंचोद.
Sharks are like any predatory animal. If they see panic in you,
right,
and somebody trying to get away, then they're curious.
Yeah.
Then they get very curious and they look at you and say, "Okay, maybe we should take a chomp out of it."
Smelling blood thingy that they talk about.
No, all that is rubbish. Okay, so
do you have your periods? You gotta.
Makes no
Pradeep
difference.
is the only guy I know who just jumped into the water. You gotta have some knowledge.
Yeah. Anyway, so when we see the sharks, firstly they're beautiful, and you have to be very still to actually let them come close to you.
But they touch you?
No, they swim around.
But when they do that...
Otherwise, they see you long before you've seen them and they disappear. So you don't ever see them.
Dolphins, did you see?
Oh, lots.
Are they approachable?
Of course.
Huh?
But not adults. The dolphins are very shy of adults because they've been hunted.
They're pedophiles?
No, they traditionally...
Sorry.
They've traditionally been hunted by the islanders.
Yeah.
And so they're very shy of the adults.
Okay.
But they're very friendly with the children. So what happens is that when we leave the children on top...
What if...
When we are they're snorkeling.
They come up to the surface.
The dolphins play with them.
Oh.
They jump all over them.
What if you're like a midget?
Then they might think you're a kid.
That's what I'm saying. So you're like some of the
But
shorter
dolphins
actors...
are very intelligent, so they can figure out.
And they have very strong communication
skills.
Language
and
thingy.
Family ties and all the whole world.
I heard they're very promiscuous.
Of course. But they also have very strong family ties.
But they're allowed to cheat on their...
In nature, there's no such thing as cheating.
We call it natur.
This is a middle-class human endeavor.
Need.
Yes.
Oh, okay. The World According to Prahlad. That's the next book and we have to learn it by memory. Let's go back into your career now. Others will only talk about diving. Such an interesting life. So many different hats literally that he wore and literally actually wore. Today for the first time you're not wearing it for some reason. How do you make your first ad film? I mean, you're taking us through this whole thing where you met Shyam Benegal and you'd worked with all these people and then you made this montage film and that woman who inspired you.
Yeah.
There's always a woman inspiring you. I read a chapter about Suman just now. I was rereading the book. And, and how you recollect all the details about the women's body parts as well as geography. Where they are from, where they are going, how you have to drop them home.
And their minds.
And their minds.
Most important.
Yeah. But
because
we want to put it there as well.
But...
so first ad film. How did that...
first ad film, I was working with Shyam. Finally accepted me as a slave.
Right.
And raggrowed the hell out of us. But he became very busy in the middle, making documentaries for Hindustan Steel. Big documentaries. Like 1 hour long documentary. And he left the office and left me in charge of the film department with a lady called Shama Habibullah, who was a filmmaker herself, a very good filmmaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that all you're going to say? Every time we discuss a woman, there's lots more. But anyway.
No. So Shama...
We are beyond cancelled. I have to just warn you right now. We're drowned.
So Shama was in charge of the department, but she didn't come every day. So I got to make a whole lot of Anderson films, which we used to do annually. Anderson.
Headache thingy?
Yeah.
Okay, which became Croson.
Yeah, like Croson, but in those days it was Anderson.
Yeah.
And
which is what they'll need for the show.
Anderson had the format where you had to go to a location and shoot the local people there within the profession.
Nice.
Who might have got a headache or who you didn't know could get a headache. So people like supervisors on a printing press with the noise and the smell.
Been at home on Sunday.
Yeah. Who gets a headache.
He's ignoring me.
And a dance master who is going tanni nanni nam with the
work.
Yeah. So he gets a headache. People like that, a postman who gets a headache. So, but they were all localized because they were local people. So we used to shoot 9 Anderson commercials all over the country in the language. In the south, and looking like the south in the location.
So the identification was exact for the location.
Exactly, and that was way ahead of its time.
Correct.
Because nobody ever did that. But we used to go by train. It was a cheap and cheerful kind of trip, and the whole unit traveled by train, and we lugged it all over the country.
Yeah.
The equipment and everything, found locations.
Who wrote the spots?
The spots were pre-written more or less. They were like a format.
You're famous for making your own spot out of the spot.
Yeah, but we sort of pushed the ticket.
Did you do that then also?
Of course.
And was the writer and all the copy team there with you?
One of them was.
So how would you handle that first one?
We said let's
compromise.
No, let's not copy ourselves. Let's go ahead. Let's take it forward. So he said, what do you mean? He said, let's take another profession. Why can't we take a dance master first? So that was my idea. So why can't we take a postman? And what does a postman do? So, it had to be around his profession. And why he cycling in the heat, delivering letters and all, just gives him a headache. And then his constant companion and friend is Anderson. And he pops an Anderson and he's fine. And see, the postman in a village is a very important man because most of the people in the village don't know how to read.
Yeah.
So not only does he deliver...
This is like our generation also.
Not only does he deliver letters, but he also has to read them out.
Really?
Really.
Always like a personal letter.
No,
Hello, Babita.
It doesn't matter. He would read them out with expression.
Like sexual stuff and all that?
I have no idea about that.
Well, it would be 1 out of 100. There'll be some personal letter coming in.
I'm sure he would manage that. Wow. But so therefore...
What if it's a death? Prahlad, this is a movie. You have to make this movie.
Death is always a telegram. It's never a letter.
Short?
Letters take too long.
Okay.
By the time the cadaver starts rotting.
Stop it. So he's an actor, the post office guy. He's like a Leo guy.
He was a terrific guy. They were all characters.
Yeah.
And we found a real guy and got him to say all
You
this.
found a real postal worker?
Yeah. They've never cast actors.
So you cast a postal worker who plays this role?
Yes.
Who actually was a good storyteller.
Correct.
Obviously.
And that inspiration got us many years later to do Jor Ka Jhatka Dheere Se Lage.
What are you saying?
Yeah, because that was Mr. Bachchan playing a postman, a village postman.
Ah, right. Yeah. Wow. And that line comes from there?
No, the line was...
Modified version of...
No, it was Anuja Chauhan's line.
We'll talk about Anuja Chauhan, one of your great co-partnerships in a sense. I think second half of your career.
Yeah.
But before we get there, so then this was the first. Anderson was the first.
Anderson was the first.
Did you get people come back and talk
There's
about...
a whole chapter on the Anderson films in the book.
Yeah.
Where we came back, we put them all together and then we saw them internally. Shyam wasn't there for my protector and benefactor and all that shit. I'm standing naked in front of all these guys, So I was nervous as hell. And anyway, they sort of looked at it and said, okay, not bad, etc. Because they were comparing them with last year's film and they were markedly better in terms of the scope that we had taken them to. And then we had a client. We had two clients from the client side, which was there was a Mr. Benigal. Also, not no relation of Shyam's. There was a Mr. Benigal and there was a gentleman called Hafiz Noorani.
It's from the famous Noorani restaurant?
No.
Which we all loved growing up?
Hafiz Noorani was head of marketing, I think, of that particular company. And the agency was known as Mac the Knife.
Oh, the Platter song.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only you and me know the song.
The reason why they thought they called him Mac the Knife was because he used to smilingly assassinate work. So whenever he'd have a big broad smile on his face, you knew he was screwed. Because he would...
The reverse is true.
He would hack it. He would chew up your creative and spit it out. Okay? And he'd go... and you have to say, oh shit. So they all came and they were put in the conference room and I was having butterflies in my stomach and they said, okay, let's see. And
so they critique you on your face now?
Of course.
You have to stand there. It's not like you're outside.
No. I'm there very much because they need answers. So why do you do this? Why do you do that? Etc. So I had to defend the films. So I'm watching Hafiz from the corner of my Mr. Noorani, from the corner of my eye, to see whether he's smiling. So he was smiling gently, but he wasn't like Mac the Knife smiling. So then he looks and says, can we see it again? So we showed it to him again, and there's no Mac the Knife sign. And then everybody releases their breath because I realized everybody in the room is holding their breath, waiting for Mac the Knife to smile. So that you'd hack the film.
But if he doesn't show emotion, what does it mean?
That means he loved it.
Oh, okay.
So, Mac the Knife...
This guy must be... His orgasms must have been something
Everybody
else.
collectively let their breath out. Yeah. And they all looked at him and said, not bad. Not bad at all.
Which is the highest he goes.
Which is the highest.
Yeah.
He goes. And then they said, okay, then they told me, bugger off. Your part is over. Now we have to present other stuff. And they carried on with the presentation, and I went outside and did a little cartwheel and landed right in the middle of the...
A star was born.
Right in the middle of the typing pool, who was my biggest support. So all the girls were there, and they all looked at me and said, what happened? And so I said, they loved it. So they all hugged me. So I love that. And then when Shyam came back, and he realized that Shyam came back for the presentation.
And Shyam returned at Shyam.
Shyam returned at Shyam for the presentation because the first time he was seeing the film with Hafiz. So I was equally scared of both Hafiz and Sham.
But was Sham was he favorable towards you generally
No,
speaking?
no.
Or
He
was very just about
by
it?
that time he was okay.
Yeah.
He sort of accepted me for whatever I was with all my warts. So he said, "Let's see what this guy's done." So he was genuinely curious, and Hafiz was, of course, looking at his years' work for his favorite brand, which is Anderson, which is the biggest seller. And so both of them. So when Hafiz nodded, then Sham looked very proud, like a parent. And that was it. After that, he left me to my own devices because he used to travel a lot. And I remember the first big film that I made was for Finlay Fabrics.
Okay.
So Finlay Fabrics was a sari brand from which was one of our big clients, and he told me to write a script. So I wrote this script about this girl.
Is it about a man searching for a girl in a sari?
No, it's about a girl searching for herself in a sari. So,
Wow.
so it was this girl all over the place.
Yeah.
So I was looking for this girl, and we had an office next to Oval.
Yeah.
So I used to go to the Oval thing just to
I
chill.
go over all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and there's this girl jogging who I saw. I said, wow. I mean, and she was really lovely looking.
Yeah.
So, after 2 days of watching her jogging, I sort of made the attempt and said,
Sound like a stalker, man.
almost. For casting, you have to be a stalker.
Fair enough.
Okay. So I went up to her and I said, I'm working in that office and I'm making a film for Finlay Fabrics. Would you like to model in it? She said, no, I'm doing my final MBBS in medicine and all. I have to concentrate. I can't do all this. She's a heavy dude. So she said, anyway, I can't say anything. You will have to talk to my parents. So they lived just 2 buildings down. So I was then prepped to meet the parents. So I said, if they say okay, will you be okay? She said, yeah, I'm fine with it. So I went and met the parents like I was asking for a hand in marriage or something. Sitting on the edge
hand
of
in
my-
sari.
Yeah, hand in sari. Anyway, her name was Neela. Okay.
Blue.
Yeah. And she had a very small scar on her upper lip. A very small scar, which for advertising is a flaw.
Yeah.
For me, it was the most attractive thing about her was that imperfection in the perfection. See, because if it's perfect, then it's distant.
Untrue.
It's cold.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
It's cold. Which is why a lot of people think that Aishwarya Rai is cold because she's perfect.
True.
Okay. So this cut made a huge difference to me. It showed that against the cut, the rest of her are so beautiful.
You kept it?
So I kept it. But I had to fight for it because everybody in the agency says, no, we'll have to cover it up.
And in those days, you have to cover it up with makeup. There's no
with
post.
makeup. There was no
Yeah.
post shots or anything like that. So I said, no, it can't.
Or she's put her tongue out through the entire...
No, I can't cover it.
Wearing a sari. Yeah.
No, but I said, no, that's a part of her. And I think it'll grow on you after a while. So anyway, Sham agreed with me. So everybody shut up. And we went to Alibag to shoot this film with Durga Kote Productions.
Wow.
I still remember that. And we shot this film and I edited it and I brought it to Vanraj Bhatia, who was a go-to
Sound guy, no?
the sound guy.
Yeah.
And I said, I want a really husky voice doing an alap. So he said, what do you know about music? So I said, nothing, except for what I hear. So he said, then don't interfere. So I said, but it's my film. He said, just shut up. Keep quiet. So he got a voice. He got a nice husky voice. And he had to make her practice a bit because she was slightly off-key. But we got this beautiful track out of it. It was a mixture of alap and
Can you sing it?
instrumental. No, not at all. So we made the film and showed it. And it was hugely appreciated by everybody, client, giant, the whole world. So that was it.
What happened to Neela?
So Neela, of course, then I wanted to see her more often. But then one
You
day
fell in love?
no, not really. Lust, more it's like it. So
For her, it was love. For you, it was lust.
no. For her, it was not even love. For me, it was pure lust.
This story sounds very similar to mine. This is not a one-sided falling in love. That's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she turned around and told me very clearly, she said, listen, I have a boyfriend and a fiance who...
Two separate?
no, the same.
Because then Nina's, very colorful.
And he's been approved by my parents, and so you don't.
So you never dated her also?
No, I never dated her. I did date her. She came out a couple of times for coffee and things. But we were in Alibag for 3-4 days together.
No, but that's work kind of thing. You didn't romantically date her properly.
No, but...
but you tried. Prahlad, that's the main thing is effort. That's what I told the boys when we lost the final. I said, you tried. That's all that's important. Yeah.
So
would you say this is the film that made you famous?
No. This is the film that established me in
the community.
In the community.
Yeah.
And then we trundled on, and then what made me actually gave me my first break was my first film, which was made on that poem which I had written. When I came from ASP Delhi to ASP Bombay, it was on a 3-month kind of a training period.
Right.
And after 3 months, they started saying, get back.
Correct.
And I didn't want to get back. I wanted to carry on working in Bombay. And so I stalled like mad, and then I said, send me some money, I'll make a film and I'll show it to you to see what you've learned.
Yeah.
So I made this film on stills with Ramon and things like that. And showed it to, I went to Lintas to screen it because they had the only people who had a projector. And I asked Booby Ismail, who was the film chief, can I run my film? And standing next to her was Jason Dukuno, who was head of Lintas at that time.
Yeah.
And she tells us, Jason, can we run his film? So Jason said, yeah, sure, as long as you can watch it. So I sat. I said, how can you watch? I mean, I haven't seen my own film. Do you want to watch my first film with me? I mean, it's going to be terrible. I was in a shock.
Yeah.
Anyway, they sat in the last. We sat in the front. And we watched this film 3 times in a row. And I couldn't even see the film because I was so nervous. It just flashed by and I didn't register anything. And I heard Jason guffawing at the back and saying, very nice. Now tell us what it means. So we named the film that. Very
tell
nice.
us what it means.
No, tell us. Very nice. Tell us what it means.
Yeah. Wow.
So Mubi actually remembered that film.
That's Mubi with an M, right?
M.
Because my hearing is going.
Okay. No, I'm lisping.
Okay.
Mubi Ismail. Okay, she was Linta chief. She remembered me from that film.
Yeah.
And later on, when
called you back
and called me for my first moonlighting film outside, which was for Britannia Murray.
So you were cheating on Sham?
No, I was not cheating on Sham. By that time, Sham had left for Ankur.
Correct.
And I went with him.
And not the restaurant in Mumbai, it's the movie.
So I was then
I
was then in charge of the department. And by that time we had split from ASP. The company had split into Radius and ASP, and I was the Radius part of it.
Okay.
So we didn't have that much film work. So I had a lot of time on my hands. So when movie turned around and said, would you like to do a film for us? So I said, sure. So I grabbed hold of 3 of my friends. One from the agency, one from Sham's unit. And we did Britannia Murray, which was my first big outside film for Britannia. That's what put me on the map.
With lots of Britannia Murray films you've done subsequently.
After that, yeah.
Literally, I mean, the 3-4 brands have been loyal with you for years.
Yeah, we even japped the national anthem of Britain for Britannia Murray.
Are you allowed to do that?
No. But we camouflaged it. Vanraj camouflaged it for us.
Rishi Sunak, if you're listening, this man has dishonored an empire. How can you do that? So it plays in the background.
Remember the tune?
Taram
pam param pam param pam pam pam.
Rule Britannia. Yeah. I miss those days, bro. Okay, we have to take a break. Oh my God, again talk too much. And we have again so much more. We may have to call it for a third time. We will not finish today, I'm pretty sure. So we'll take a quick break, then we'll come back. The man is here. He's going to tell us about some of the great modeling moments he's had, as in the models you've worked with. And let me just name them as we go into break. I mean, I was just going through the list. I think there's obviously Shah Rukh, there's Amir, there's Shane Warne, there's Sachin, there's Saurav Ganguly, and the girls, almost every female Bollywood star from the 90s and 2000s has worked through Genesis in your films. Either worked in the company or in front of the camera. So we'll take a break and come back.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Just a Filmy Game Show, Antariksh is joined by actors Sharat Kelkar and Arjun Singh Ojla from the Amazon mini TV show Slum Golf. Watch them battle it out round after round to win the title of the biggest Bollywood Divana. On Postcards from Nowhere, Utsav Memoria takes us on a journey to Krakow, Poland, where a statue of Soviet hero Vladimir Lenin underwent a bizarre journey from a symbol of communism to a casualty of local disdain. Folks, if you like our shows, spread the word, tell your friends, and don't forget to rate and review them wherever you're listening to them. Follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You'll also find all our shows on YouTube at youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week: Omidyar Network India, Abbott, IDFC First Bank, and Save Life Foundation. Thank you for making this possible.
We'll have to call you back for a third time.
Of course.
But this man's stories never end. And I think also the other thing is that this book, like you said, you condensed it into this. Because when you're talking, then things are coming to you, right?
Yes.
One incident could be like half a book. Because
almost. But after every chapter, I should think I finished the book and take a walk.
Yeah.
And go walk about and not touch it for another 3 days until my wife got up and said, "What are you doing? Get on with the book." That's it. But I just finished the chapter.
But I don't remember so many things from my life. How do you remember all the details?
I've got a very good long-term memory.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
And your detailing is very specific. Like, we can't catch you out on it.
No.
Like the names of the people, little details that you give us about them, from physiques to accents to the way he looked, etc., etc. Very strong.
And their personalities.
Yeah, it's like animated. It's there, stuck in your head.
No, but to me it's visual, na?
Yeah.
Because I'm only closing my eyes, seeing them, and then transcribing them on paper.
Onto the canvas of the podcast. Which is
so it's not the other way around.
Yeah.
Most people write and then you can imagine what they've written.
Yeah.
I imagine and then write.
True. Also, but isn't it fun for you in a way? Because you're going back to so many things that have happened.
It's a lot of fun, especially when you get into details.
I can't believe you drowned that friend of yours. I'm thinking of the show Bakra that we used to do, which you featured where you did it on me. I was thinking, what a fabulous Bakra there is to convince a guy who can't swim not to go into a pool with floats, but to hold a guy's hand who's in an irritated mood and jump into the deep beyond. Freaking marine life form, man. It just makes no sense. Okay, let's now quickly go to the names that we need to get into, because there's some big shots here and then we'll show pictures of the famous people. So let's go. Firstly, let's talk about some of them who worked with you. Ravina came for the book launch.
Yes.
Okay, and
she
loves you. She adores you. You can tell immediately. So when they worked for you, could you tell who'd become a star and all that? Because you had a few.
I knew she would become a star, but I didn't want her to.
Why?
Because she was a very good assistant.
Oh.
And I knew that she would make an even better filmmaker.
Ouch.
And I think she's come, both Mandira Beri and Ravina.
Yeah.
So when she wanted to get into movies, I told her, I said, think about it. You'll make a great film director. So would you rather be in charge, or would you be rather,
in front of the camera?
In front of the camera at somebody else's mercy?
And being criticized and all that.
And somebody else. She said, I've got a very good role, a very tempting role. So I said, see, you'll be a star. There's no question about it. One day in your life, you're going to remember what I told you, and you come back to me, and we'll make you into a director. And I think the time has come for her.
But, the things she said at the launch, also in the book, which are there to some extent, the way you treated the women, very different from the way you treat the men.
No, because the women were...
Reverse chauvinism.
No. The women were already gifted with certain attributes which we require
What are you talking about?
For filmmaking. One is multitasking.
Yeah.
And the other is detailing.
And sincerity, I think.
That comes with the territory. Even guys are sincere. Yeah. Okay, so, but multitasking and detailing is something that they actually grow up with. Because
men listen.
They're always treated as second-rate children in the family compared to their brothers, where the sun shines out their backside.
Even today?
Even today. Okay, so men get away with murder. Women have to put their nose to the grind and not get away with anything because they're watched and they're corrected all the time. So women have to, they learn to be twice as good as men to compete. They don't compete on it's not an even playing field. They have far too many blockages in their own mind which have been put there to believe that they are not as good as men. And so they overdrive.
But whenever I've been in the Genesis office, now we're cutting back 2 years later, he's now a superstar, the biggest name in filmmaking, etc. An industry of his own. it's like almost like we had gone into the future if you're in there, because your language,
Yes.
your profanity,
Yes.
your easy way of talking.
Yes.
You know, you treat everyone the same. You know, you have a very egalitarian way, in spite of the fact that there's a lot of bad language, but which, you know, you get to know once you get to know Prahlad. But that was not. If you go to a corporate office next door, it's a totally different experience. And then suddenly come to your office, it's like 2023.
Completely.
You know, we were suddenly in the future.
My office was an organic.
So how did you
living
decide
thing.
that, you know, I'm going to just keep it really like, tell it like it is sort of office, you know, everybody talks the way they want to, and you know, you shout MCBC to whoever you want
Yeah,
to.
it was an open office.
Yeah.
Firstly, we were cramped for space until we got enough space. Then we said, okay, what do we use this space? And everybody was thinking of having a conference room, having this, that, and all that bullshit. Let's have a kitchen.
Yeah.
So I said, they said, why? I said, because we need to eat. And everybody needs to eat. And I think that's the best part of it. The most creative part is going to be the kitchen. And everybody in the office will have to learn how to cook, because their turn will come to cook one day. Okay. So everybody used to cook. And everybody used to be not just equal. The people who cooked were then the bosses for that particular afternoon.
Yeah.
And the eating area, which was most of the office, was a highly democratic place. Because when you eat, you don't have hierarchy. Hey, chup kar, khana ka. You know, listen to what I'm saying. Bullshit. Even the peon had a share of voice. So if he felt that there was something wrong with the way we were running the office, he could say it. But he could say it at that time.
At the food time.
At the food time.
The food time is where the equality of India happens.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay, because everybody is equal. And everybody had to listen. So I remember once after the AIDS epidemic hit us, we decided that we would be the forerunners of the counseling for AIDS. So we actually applied to WHO and said that we want to be an NGO within the office where we actually advise other people. So therefore, my girls will have to first learn what the hell this is all about, because women are more susceptible. Susceptible. Because especially when men don't use protection. 9 out of 10 they'll get it. Whereas men get it 1 out of 10 times because they're built differently.
Also sexuality.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, you know, the virus has to travel up your body for it to implant. For the woman, it's right there.
Oh.
It doesn't have to travel anyway.
But they warn all the people in this IVM office. They
Okay.
don't have this
So
information.
they sent a guy down from Holland who actually taught our girls how to, what the do's and don'ts of the whole thing were. They said, it's not a big deal. And we said, how do you know? This is because I'm a victim.
Oh.
He was an AIDS victim. He had AIDS.
But he was surviving.
He was a survivor. And he said, you can survive. It's not that you don't live. I said, if you don't die of fright, because you're going to die, it'll take 15 to 20 years for you to die. And you got enough productive life to pay back. So he said, that's what I'm doing. I've left whatever I'm doing, and now I'm counseling all over the world for WHO to the do's and don'ts of. So I said, so who is the most vulnerable sect within our society? He said, prostitutes. He said, because they don't seem to have a right to turn around and say, if it's not on, it's not on.
Right.
Because if their guys are mostly drunk and violent, and so they'll get physical with them if they turn around and say, sorry, you don't have a condom, I'm not going to do it. They don't have that choice. So he said, so what do they do? So he says, well, the prostitutes in Holland have learned a technique of what to do, and I'm going to teach that to your girls so that you can teach it to the prostitutes in our red light area. So we got hold of a dildo
Okay.
to learn on.
Right.
So it was called, the procedure was called cheeking a condom.
What is it called?
Cheeking a condom,
Cheeking a condom.
which means that you put the condom in your mouth
Oh.
and you hold it on the roof of your mouth with your tongue.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you go down on the guy and you slip it on him and he won't even know.
How will you not know?
He won't know because half the time he's drunk, half the time he's got too much of in tooth. And they do it, it's done so well, they have to do it right, you can't make out.
Wow.
So he said, that's how they protect themselves. Is that if the John is violent and he's refusing to use a condom, then they put it on him. And so I said, wow. So we taught all our girls how to cheek a condom on the dildo, so they could take it to the red light area and demonstrate it to the prostitutes there as to when this guy doesn't have a condom, and even if you have a condom, you refuse to put it on. How do you put it on him without him knowing?
Oh. So not just diving.
Yes.
You've given back to...
Why I was back to the lunchtime was that we decided that if we were going to counsel companies to accept AIDS people within their workforce with certain parameters, how are they going to do it? And this was very important that we include the community. Correct. Because it was becoming larger and larger every day.
And they were not allowed anywhere.
And they were completely ostracized and everybody was overreacting. So I said, the only way we can do it is by doing it ourselves first. And that's the only way we could learn. So we went around and we found a lady who was HIV positive. And then we got her treated.
And she worked there?
And she worked in my office.
Yeah.
And it was democratic. So at lunchtime, I got everybody together, and then everybody announced that we are getting a person who is HIV positive. And she's going to be working in the office. So these are the areas, these are the parameters that you have to be hygiene conscious. And she has to be hygiene conscious, you have to be hygiene conscious, but it's not a big deal. So
people wouldn't eat with someone who's got HIV/AIDS.
Exactly.
Which is nonsense.
Exactly. We know how everybody ate together.
Yeah.
The only thing we did was that we gave her a separate set of plates and glasses. So her glasses wouldn't be common. So that if somebody had a queasiness about them, they wouldn't sort of feel bad about it.
Okay.
So she had her own set of crockery and
cutlery. It's a bit like veg, non-veg.
Yeah.
They don't let us share the bowls. Even though I say bring the country together, eat from one bowl. Nobody listens.
That was the time when everybody sort of agreed or to disagree. They were a little skeptical, but they said, okay. But the guys who had to deal with her most of the time and most of the space that she occupied were the peons in the office. And at lunchtime, they would sit down and say, see, we are not comfortable with this.
Oh.
So I had to sit and counsel them.
It's a bit like the pandemic. People just have an opinion and it just flies.
So I had to sit with them and actually talk to them as a group and say, listen,
I hope you did the right thing and said you're fired if you don't work here with her.
Not that much. Not exactly. But they understood that there was no going back from this. That we had taken a decision, and whether they liked it or not, they were going to have to live with it. But I also...
Very delicate subject.
Yes.
I can imagine trying to do it in an office setting.
But they had a share of voice, and they actually articulated that they were not comfortable.
Correct.
Otherwise, can you imagine somebody saying, I'm not comfortable working with such and such?
Yeah.
In an office. They would have got screwed.
The Prahlad Kakar School of Democracy, much appreciated. And may I say, prostitutes around the world, and I mean no disrespect, have your picture. As one of the guys who push for AIDS awareness and make the world a more level place.
And so we used to run 2 phone lines in the office, 24 hours, 7. And the girls used to man it. And most of the queries came from women.
The same, ignorance of AIDS.
Can you get it through saliva? Do you get it? And we had...
The people used to ask whether you get it to touch, as in just your finger touching somebody's skin.
No, but you see, women never asked in public because they were little embarrassed that why would you want to know anyway?
No, exactly. What's your background?
What's your background? Are you promiscuous? Are you, sleeping around? Whatever. So they would keep very quiet. But on the phone line, which was anonymous, they would open up.
Wow. Well, Prahlad's done a lot of things, and we try to put in, 400, 500 pages as much as we could. We haven't done justice. You need to write 5 more books.
Yes.
Start quickly. But let's get into some of the other stars as the time is running out here. I remember reading about Shane Warne, and there's a very funny incident. Again, don't want to give away things. Come and read the book. But you've got to tell this story. So he actually came for an ad shoot, I think Pepsi?
Yes, for Pepsi.
And this is true, okay? And you got to read the book. He came to Bombay and you couldn't find him.
And he didn't turn up.
Now, you tell us. Yeah.
So there's a huge set of a store, of a supermarket, which we built.
Yeah.
And there was Sachin and Shane Warne, and there was this guy from West Indies. Hooper. Okay. So all of us there with a bang on time, 9 o'clock, everything was all set. We had pre-light the day before.
Yeah.
And no Shane Warne. And we were frantically calling up all over the place to find out where the hell is he.
There was a booking in a hotel.
Hotel and all. They said he had never turned up. You know, and he was supposed to have come late night.
Yeah.
So, and he was supposed to check in. I think. The transport people said that he never turned up.
Yeah.
So we couldn't pick up anybody. The hotel said...
I can't believe this story.
We couldn't solve, wondering what the hell happened to Shane Warne. So we ringing up Australia for his manager to see, did he come, didn't he come? And he said, he left from here. So he said, what do you mean he left from here? He said, he left, got on the plane and left.
Yeah.
So, and there was a big tamasha.
Wait, I just have to set it up here. So right now, your knowledge, you're at the set, your knowledge is he's taken the plane from Melbourne and he's coming to Mumbai. Somewhere he's lost on the plane. That's what we have. Yeah. Go on. Yeah.
So, you know, after about tearing our hair out, we 2 hours down the line, we said, oh shit, now what do we know? And I get a call. Vibha Rishi gets a call.
Head of Pepsi.
From guy who sounded very stern and said, are you Vibha Rishi from Pepsi? And she said, yes. She says, do you know a man called Shane Warne? So she said, yes, where is he? So we're waiting for him. So she says, you can keep waiting because we are going to deport him. So he said, why? You know, he's Shane Warne, you can't deport him. We're waiting for him for a film shoot. So he says, I'm the customs commissioner. And this man has reached here without a visa or without any, just with a passport.
See, he got on the plane from Melbourne. He has no visa. He just thought he was going.
He just got on. And in Melbourne, there was such a huge fan moment. Everybody trying to take his autograph. They forgot to see whether he checked the paper to see whether he had a valid visa or not. And Shane Warne had never travelled on his own before. He'd always travelled with some joker who's handling all this shit for him. So he thought, it's very easy because somebody else is doing it, you know. And she got on the plane and came. And
so now he's stuck in the airport.
Now he's stuck in the airport, being about to be deported. And we are waiting at the set 2 hours later and saying, oh man, he's at the airport. Fucking me, they're going to deport him. So I started ringing up all kinds of people, you know, Delhi, Ministry, airport, Atom.
I think you call Lakshadweep Member Parliament. Your influence is Lakshadweep. To get the Mumbai guy.
No, because he was the State Minister for Home.
Oh, okay. So there was some protocol there.
Yeah, so I rang him up and said, boss, you know, please save us because this guy there, we'll take him out for a day, we'll send him back. I promise you that. So finally I get a call from the Commissioner of Customs saying, we'll give him one day entry on your guarantee that you will deport him back. I said, yeah, please send him. So that's how Shane Warne came for the shoot.
That must be nerve-wracking. And
then Warne is totally nonplussed. He said, man, they just help me up and they say, I don't have a visa. I don't know what the fuck that is.
But he was great to work with.
And he was terrific.
Very easygoing
and
fun.
A great actor.
Yeah. Speaking of actors, Sachin from the early Sachin starts becoming better and better under your tutelage?
No, not really. It was Sachin getting confident.
Yeah. You can see the growth.
When I first shot him when he was 16 years old.
Yeah, that Kamli Sachin Pepsi ad?
That was a little later, but the first one was before he became a part of the team.
Right.
And he was a tousled head.
Phenomenon,
And Pepsi actually spotted him scout-wise and said that this is the guy who's going to become a star. So let's
give him a 20-year contract at 10 rupees.
So anyway, he came, he was totally lost and he could only speak Marathi. So my driver was his greatest pal because he was his translator. And I put him with him and said, "Usko jo kuch chahiye de de." So he says, tells the driver, "मैं एक Pepsi ले सकता हूँ?"
Oh, sweet.
So my driver tells him, ये पूरी ट्रक जो है ना तेरे लिए आई है.
Wow. And but how did you? There's two when you're dealing with them and they're unknown. Say young Sachin, fine, but then later on he's a phenomenon. Shah Rukh is already very well known. So how did you deal with all those big guys? How do you? I mean, you are Prahlad Kakar, but do you talk to them like you talk to me?
I had a
you used to talk to me like this. It's all rubbish. Do it again. You're not even looking at the camera. Do it again. You know. So would you talk to them like that?
No, almost. But I had a reputation by that time. Not with Sachin, but with the others.
Yeah.
And they knew that I was a bit off. and that I would be very nice and polite in the beginning. But
No, you know what you used to do? I'm sure you know. You talk really nicely in one sentence, and in the second sentence, 1 second later, you're screaming.
no,
So that
what
would be-
I used to do is I used to put an assistant of mine in the periphery of my vision.
Yeah.
So I'd be talking to the star
Yeah.
and saying, very nice.
Oh, third person contact.
This is the thing. And then I'd look off and say, what the fuck are you doing? You know, to the assistant thing, picking your nose, scratching your ghoulies, you know, get on with it, you know. And then, where were we? We were at So you should startle the hell out of them and say, by God, there's a Jekyll and Hyde character here. हमारे साथ तो इतना अच्छा हो रहा है, अभी कल्टी मारेगा तो अभी हमारे साथ हमारी कच्ची कर देगा सबके सामने. So better do whatever he says.
But then what about the great Amitabh Bachchan? At the end of the day, I mean, that's...
No, Amitabh Bachchan was another kettle.
So how do you handle that? How do
He
you deal with
got us
him?
on the back foot from the moment we stepped on
how would
the
it happen? How would the...
I mean, we'd step on the set 15 minutes late, which is very good for a unit.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
He'd be sitting there reading a newspaper
Yeah.
with full makeup.
Yeah. Huh.
And you're
So
fucked.
what do you do?
You're fucked. What do you mean, what do you do?
What's your first line then?
Your first line
Sorry,
is,
sir.
I'm so sorry. So the rest of the day,
The dynamic switches.
the rest of the day you keep saying sorry.
But how do you tell him? Do you tell him?
Don't tell him anything, sir. Can we try this again then with a little nuance? Look at you and say, yeah. But he was very good, I must say.
Shah Rukh?
Shah Rukh was brilliant.
Shah Rukh's too easygoing, right? You can say what you
Easygoing,
want.
is brilliant,
Yeah.
and he's very compassionate with the crew.
Yeah.
So you see me shouting at the crew and he'd cover up for them.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember once.
He could be a labor leader. This man wasting his time in Bollywood. Put him in Parliament, I say.
No, because I remember once we were doing a noodle shoot, but not for Maggie. It was
Sounds wrong.
For Nissan.
The car. Yeah, he
No,
endorsed
not Nissan.
is Nissan?
Nissan noodles. Yeah,
Nissan!
Nissan.
Arey, listen.
Nissan. So we were doing a noodle shoot for Nissan with curry in a hurry. They had a curry flavor. Okay. So, and I had specially selected the bowls to match the noodles. The yellow on the inside and red on the outside.
Correct.
And the crew misplaced, my kids misplaced the bowls. And here I'm waiting for the shot, for the noodle shot, which is the money shot of the film. And there are no bowls. They bring me some other shitty bowls which I had rejected. And I threw a fucking fit which you cannot... It was decibel level 9. And everybody was hiding. Nobody was trying to look for the bowls. They were all trying to find a khopchi to hide. And Shah Rukh goes backstage.
But he's sitting right in front of you.
He's sitting right in front of
His
you.
shot is ready and all that.
Yeah. He walks off backstage and collects all my girls who are scouring away and says, I'll handle it. Don't worry.
He tells you.
Yeah, he tells them.
Oh, okay.
And then
Smart
he walks.
Shah Rukh, huh? Brownie points are with the girls. I thought he's going to calm Prahlad down. Yeah.
Then he comes and tells me, it's okay. It doesn't matter what bowl we use. As long as the noodles are right. So I sort of look at him and say, yeah, okay, let's go.
And those same bowls were in Pathan. I saw it in one shot. He had taken them. Yeah. But do you ever shout at the star? Have you ever you don't shout actually, but you sort of, you just straightforward. Your straightforward way when you're talking to us. Yeah.
I have not shouted with that.
It's not that the bluntness that you have.
I'll tell you what happened. A guy who's entitled, like a star or a cricketer, walks onto the set, and the first thing he asks me is, when can I go?
That's the most beautiful line. I also do that. You can ask the boys. Yeah.
So when can I go?
What time is pack up? Always, yes.
So I should look at them straight in the eye
And say, shut up.
and say, no, and say, now.
Ooh. Yeah.
I said, you come here either to go or you come here to do the film properly.
Or to steal my
So
bowls.
my job is to do a great film for my product.
Yeah.
Okay. You are part of that job.
Who's actually said this word? Who's told you what time can I leave and all that?
Pardon?
Give me the names.
Azuruddin.
Azhar used to say.
Azhar used to walk in. कब जा सकते हैं? मैंने कहा अभी जाओ यार.
And then what's his reply?
nahi, ऐसे बात मत कर यार. So, I said, no. If you're more interested in going than in the film, then I know I'm going to get a shit film. So I'd rather not do a shit film. Go now.
Saurav?
At least I can tell the client that he left.
Yeah.
And we couldn't do the film.
He had some urgent business.
Yes.
What was Saurav Ganguly?
Saurav was okay, but he had 2 left legs. He couldn't dance.
Yeah. There's a Pepsi ad where he used to dance.
No, not Pepsi. He did something else for somebody else. Which I
Cycle? I remember him dancing. That dancing thing is famous.
He did some dancing thing with Hrithik. He was.
Yes! Hey, can we play that? That is so funny.
I mean,
that is. How did that go?
It was done for somebody else, and I wrote him a letter. I said, Saurav, what's wrong with you? And your manager, why are they making you dance when you can't dance?
And that
also with Hrithik Roshan makes you look stupid because it's the captain of the team. Yeah, you can't. Nobody should make you look stupid.
Did he reply?
That's the director's responsibility to not make his star look stupid.
Yeah.
We should do that for Sachin all the time. We ran so much interference for Sachin, not even funny.
I think you once said, it's in the book also, I think that when they're not paying attention, you took the shot.
Yeah. No, with Sachin, when he was comfortable and talking to Kamli and laughing loudly, I needed them to laugh a lot. Then I used to take the shot quietly. And
so they didn't know the take was going on?
No.
Yeah.
And luckily the camera was silent. So we got away with it. But it's not, that was like heart and mouth kind of thing. You don't know whether you're going to get film at the end of it.
Worst actor out of all of these guys?
Actually, if you find their strong moments, they can all perform.
So who's the best then? So that's a difficult question.
Best is always the actors like Amir and Shah Rukh and Mr. Bachchan and people like that. But out of the cricketers, the best actors were people like Bajji. He was a clown through.
Yeah.
He was a damn funny character. He was a natural. And then there was Yuvraj, who was also a tongue-in-cheek kind of...
Like the camera.
They're
both naughty. They should suit your film style also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why we did a
we
lot
sit in a sari ad. Bajji and Yuvraj. It wouldn't make sense to cast him in a sari ad.
Exactly.
But Prahlad Kakar ad, definitely. It'll have that twist to it.
So we should try and justify the script for the person, but we should also see that the scripts actually were comfortable for the actor, for the talent. Because if they were uncomfortable with the script, you could be there till the cows came home and not get a performance. So we used to tweak the scripts. We used to change scripts. We used to change dialogues.
To make them comfortable.
Make them
that from the
comfortable.
beginning. Sometimes people don't understand. You get on a set and they give you this stuck dialogue which doesn't suit the person.
So I had to tell the agency, I said, is your script more important or is Sachin Tendulkar more important?
Correct. And he must sound real.
Yeah, and he must sound like Sachin
Kripya
Tendulkar.
ध्यान दीजिए, मैं Sachin Tendulkar बोल रहा हूँ. It's not going to work.
It's never going to work.
Learn from us.
So we once I remember Sachin's strong moments were with children.
Yeah.
He's damn good with children.
Yeah.
Because at heart he's a child.
Right.
Okay, so they get along famously. So this idiotic son of mine.
That's what they said about Michael Jackson also, and I don't know.
So there's this 3-year-old monster kid who not only listens to anybody, doesn't ever listen to anybody.
Brat.
Especially on a brat. And he and Sachin are supposed to do a Britannia film together.
Oh my God.
And there's a narrative. Okay. So I'm sort of, holding my head, and I built this set where you can't see a thing. I've got cameras in little pokey holes all over the place, at them. And I've told Sachin, I said, see, you're the director now. I'm not the director. I can't come in and say, cut and do this.
They took away captaincy at an early stage from Sachin. You gave it back.
Yeah. So I told him, you are the director. You are to direct this horrible kid.
His exact words.
And he lives in the same building, so he knows you.
Okay.
So he says, yeah, he gets familiar all the time. He hits me on the bum.
Really?
Yeah. So I said, anyway, so you deal with him and make sure that he goes through the motions of at least licking the biscuit. What the kid was supposed to do was take these Oreo type biscuits, open them up, lick the inside, put them back again, put them back into the case for Sachin to eat, because he used to sneak in from behind and do all this. So then Sachin caught him, and then they had a great time. So there was there were 3 or 4 scripts that had to be done like that. One playing chess, one doing something else, one licking the biscuits. And Sachin was marvelous with this kid. He just got him to do everything.
So by him becoming the coach, everything got better.
And so while he was doing it, we were shooting.
Yeah.
And we got some great films out of that Britannia campaign.
Wow. Ting, 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 ting.
Correct.
I can never forget that. Okay, we're running out of time, but I have to talk about Anuja Chauhan for a second. There's so many people who have been part of the empire, the Genesis and Prahlad Kakar empire. But I think the partnership with Anuja Chauhan will stand the test of time.
Always. Because
Similar mindsets.
Anuja, even as a trainee, came up with the campaign line, nothing official about it.
Yeah.
And from then onwards, she was a star.
All the Pepsi lines.
As far as Pepsi was concerned, she was the star because she saved their bacon.
Yeah.
Because Pepsi had lost the World Cup to Coke.
Correct. Yeah.
And it was a very big deal. And there was like gloom.
The 99 World Cup.
A little earlier, I think.
Yeah. England.
Yeah, England. And there was gloom all over. And then Anuja comes up with this line, nothing official about it.
Yeah.
And everybody says,
reverse hijacked it.
yeah, it says, what does that mean? It means that why should we be in the stadium when there are more people outside the stadium who are trying to get into the stadium and they're like us? There's nothing official about us.
You became the bad boys.
Yeah, we became the bad boys.
The rebels.
It fit the DNA of Pepsi perfectly.
Yeah.
The young rebels who didn't want
Screw
to
your
follow formal
official ownership of the
grow their hair, wear whatever jeans that they wanted to, whichever place.
And then she gave us India's greatest moment in advertising. Mera number kab aayega?
Mera number kab aayega?
Eternal loser.
Can you imagine she made a star out of a loser? I mean,
but you have to find the right loser.
Yes. No, of course. You have to find a right loser who everybody loves. Including the taxi driver. So what we did as a reverse campaign was after the campaign was over, there were a lot of winners.
Yeah.
And nobody believed there were any winners because they thought,
all bullshit.
So we actually shot the winners. And we shot them like there was a taxi driver who won.
Yeah.
And he was sitting in front of the taxi and he said, Cyrus, tera number aayega, aayega.
I think Rags Koti did a voiceover which I remember, which I thought just the way that, I mean, it's like God. The way he says number aayega, baba aayega, the way he's delivered that, it just absolutely, when you're talking to a loser and the loser's got no hope, you still say something nice knowing that it's not going to help. Aayega baba, aayega. The way he says that, it just lived with me forever. I can still hear it in my head. Yeah. So great partnership then with her and very like-minded sort of...
No, the whole team was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because there was my team.
A few others?
Yeah, there was Anuja, there was Vibha from the client side who backed the team 100%. Yeah. There was Kenny Dawson from my side who did the mask film with Sachin.
Yeah.
And so on and on. So the entire HTA team, the suits took a backseat.
Yeah.
The creative took over.
Yeah.
Because the Vibha liked dealing with the creatives. And strategy-wise, she used to deal with the suits. But in terms of content, it was always the creative.
Yeah.
And after there was Zap from JWD, who was also copywriter.
These are not the parents given names, but Zap was Zap. Yeah.
And the team was like trusted implicitly by the client.
Yeah.
So when we say it's not working...
You took over a few brands, like not in a bad way. You almost the brand, this is the...
We were identified with the brand.
Like Britannia.
I was identified with Pepsi.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I had to represent them even on public debates.
2-3 generations of cricketers and stars have gone through.
Public debates.
Did you?
Yes. When
Explaining
Pepsi got in the
ads.
controversy about having pesticide in it and all that, nobody from Pepsi came out. I
Let's blame it on the man with the hat.
I was put in front.
What did you say?
I told him, I said, hello.
Nothing official about it.
No, if the groundwater is polluted, then whatever you are eating and drinking,
everything is polluted.
Everything is polluted, but Pepsi is the least polluted because they go through much more rigorous, tests than anything else.
Yeah. How true was your statement?
Very.
Just kidding.
Because I finally got even the MD of the company to stand up and say, I gave Pepsi to my children and have that much confidence in my brand.
True. There you go. I gave Pepsi to my children and my wife got really angry. It was like, they have to have better diets, etc. and all that. But I love the product. By the way, I was the only guy who used to take, if you ever endorse Pepsi or any of the big beverages, they actually send you. The truck comes once a week if you're interested and you can take as much as you want. No, they're all the people in my office want. I don't have that. I don't have that endorsement anymore. I have this now. Yeah. But so they get irritated, the truck guys, because they know they will come to Malabar Hill. There's this guy who goes and takes all the crates. And then everybody in my colony and lane was given stuff for a few years. But before we end, Prahlad, we've got some questions that have come in which have to be asked from very interesting people who love your career and have already bought the book. What alternative career path would you have taken? Asked a guy called Nick.
When I was starting my career, I had 3 options, and one was the last was the establishment one where I ran away from the bank.
Yeah,
and
which you joined actually.
Yeah,
technically.
and
They've
I
given
didn't
you
know
the job.
anything about advertising, so I didn't have that as an option. But I had tea plantations as an option to.
So what would you do in the tea plantation?
Be a manager of a tea
That
plantation.
takes time.
No. You go there, you become a manager pretty early when you're very young.
Okay.
But it's an outdoor life. You spend your office time in shorts, on a motorcycle, going up and down on a horse. Even better, looking at all and in Darjeeling and Assam and all, it's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
Living there.
What are we looking at, but?
But what do you mean, what are you looking at?
Girls.
No.
Then?
I mean, we are looking at the whole lifestyle.
Oh, the outside, you're talking about the environment.
Yeah.
I always get taken, I'm wondering what he's advertising.
And
now.
I'm an outdoor person, yeah.
You
I mean,
are.
there was shikar, there was game, there was outdoors, there was social life. The planters used to get together once a week at the planters club, and there would be great drinking and dancing and everything else. So it was a good life, basically. Whatever I'd seen of it from outside was a good life. I had that one option. My grandmother put
Said no.
a wrench to it because I wanted to leave immediately after school because they would accept me after school. I didn't want to do college. She said, no way, you finish your graduation, then we'll see what you want to do. And the second was, I used to spend a lot of my holidays at a stud farm. What do you call?
That's where he met me.
Horse breeding stud farm.
Huh.
So I was very into horses. So I wanted to become a breeder.
That would have could be a very lucrative profession
Yes.
also. My God, imagine Punawala Stables, Prahlad Kakar manager. Could have happened. But then in the end, it was advertising that claimed you. So Nick, I hope that answers your question. Also, another question he asked, second one was, what would you choose, invisible cloak or flying carpet? Invisible cloak, so you can't be seen, or a flying carpet where you can go anywhere. I think flying carpet.
Flying carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're too adventurous and
Yeah,
the world is too
this-
small for you.
yeah,
You want to keep
and-
seeing different things.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But I would take invisible cloak. Ladies' bathroom. Ain't been there for a long time. No, don't do that. Yeah. Harban, the Punjabi guy says, can the Punjabi man speak in Punjabi? I would love to just listen to him. Do you speak?
Pancho.
Oh, we don't talk about that. Papa Pancho.
Papa Pancho.
That was yours, right?
Yes.
So,
Wasn't mine, the name
one of
was
the music channels stole this, but you're the one who began with a Pancho with a P.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad word kind of thing. This childish thing we used to play while drinking. Pancho. So you can say in front of everyone because you're saying Pancho. And Papa, then you started your restaurant.
Yeah. No, the restaurant actually started by Mamta Sekri.
Yeah. It's your name.
I gave her the name, and I also helped her with the menu and the food.
Yeah.
So we had a base kitchen. We had a place.
But technically, you're not Papa Pancho.
Well, no, it was
Are you?
actually, I am Papa Pancho.
You are Papa Pancho.
Yeah.
Oh, Pancho.
Yeah. But Papa Pancho himself is a mixture of Khushwant Singh,
Oh,
Jigs Kalra,
lovely.
and me.
That's a triumvirate I would like to hang out with. That's pretty good. All food lovers, of course, and whiskey lovers, 2 of them. Hamisha says, what ad do you see or have seen in the past that made you feel wonderful work has happened, or that I could have done this? Sort of like.
All the ads that Amit Sharma does.
Okay, can you name one ad for people?
The ad that he did with for what's the name? Damn.
What's the brand?
No. It was about this old gentleman in Delhi who was missing his childhood
Pakistani friend.
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic.
Google. The
What
Google
an
ad. It was to me.
Well, that's beautiful
I
ad.
can see it 500 times. It still brings a lump to my
Yeah.
throat.
Great ad. That's fantastic. You looked at that and said, I wish I'd made that.
Yes.
But it's not really a Prahlad Kakar ad. The Prahlad Kakar is the fun guy.
No, agreed.
Too late to change.
But any
you miss not showing
any
that side.
emotion
Yeah.
that moves you, whether it's humor or whether it's a tug at the heart or whether it's nostalgia.
Yeah.
is advertising territory.
Yeah.
Because numbers don't make anybody blink.
Does Prahlad Kakar believe advertising sells but the product?
Of course.
It does?
Of course.
We all love the ads, but do we buy the product?
But you have to believe in the product. You have to believe as a filmmaker that the product is actually good for...
But I love this ad that you're talking about. I love all the ads you made, but it won't necessarily have the product.
What?
If it's a beverage or if it's food or whatever.
No, it has the product. It's embedded very subconsciously within the subject. So it's not that the product is... we are very brand strong.
Huh.
We've always been very brand strong.
Okay.
That,
so
that,
brand
I
sale
grew
first.
up. I always grew up with the fact that the brand is always the hero, and everybody else who's supporting it are the film stars.
Is there a brand that represents you? Do you think?
Pepsi.
Pepsi does, yeah, Pepsi does. Not Chota Pepsi, leave that for me. Too late, the world knows now. Yeah. All right, I think we've run out of time, way out of time, well over budget, but we still need you to come back with lots more to ask. So when are you going to be free again? Any idea?
In a week.
24? 2024?
No, in a week.
In a week? What a life. A life that's still lots more to go, and what else can you do now? Is there something new that you're looking at?
Yeah.
Other than making films and...
Well, now
and
we started
Lakshmadeep?
teaching, because what we realized was that the legacy that Genesis has left is not its work, because that's dating. Because when you do work which is 15, 20 years old, then it looks dated. Some of it looks forever, but a lot of it looks dated. But the real legacy of Genesis is the people we've produced. And that who are now working within the industry, if not in our industry, in lots of other industries. Okay? And they're the nucleus of the clan, what we call the clan. And the clan will survive. And therefore, we decided to teach more people to become clan members.
Again, choice of words I wouldn't use, but yeah.
Yeah. So, we are trying to set up a vertical where we teach entrepreneurship and branding and advertising together as a subject. But entrepreneurship, why I say that is because none of the people who worked in Genesis ever permanently worked for anybody else after that. They became independent. And they became freelancers, and they became
filmmakers,
self-employed.
Yeah.
Okay, they were all self-employed. And filmmakers.
They should pay you 10% till death.
Well,
I mean, there should be some sort of like taxation process, like you learn from the school, you owe the school.
So, the curriculum, which was very loose, including the kitchen in the office, somehow shaped that entrepreneurial spirit in them of not being afraid of failure. And I think the one thing that the ex-Genesis people actually reflect very strongly is beyond fear. Is that they'll try anything because they're not afraid of failing. Okay? Now, that is a very important factor to teach to future entrepreneurs in any way. So, we then put together a rough curriculum of what we had made our people go through in the office, which was very haphazard. I mean...
But I have a theory that your lack of formality...
Yes.
And doesn't mean people weren't scared of you at various times because you are who you are. But your lack of formality created a fearlessness. People came back... they don't think of it as an office.
No.
It's a way of life where they're here, they do their thing.
I punished people who took no decisions and sat.
Yeah.
And I rewarded people.
Tell them about your punishments. They were legendary.
I've rewarded people who took decisions, even if they were wrong, because that is the way to go. Is you never sit on something. You take a call and own it. Ownership is the bottom line of all entrepreneurship.
So what I tell the members of parliament, accountability.
Yes.
Just be accountable. It's
completely
okay.
accountable. That is real entrepreneurship. That is when you build value. And building value is more important than building money. Because when you chase money, you never come.
But listening to you, why aren't you in politics?
What?
I think we have a chance here.
I'll get assassinated.
No. Why were they...
Because I'm uncompromising.
So what?
So
people
politics,
want a breath of fresh air, come on.
The code word in politics is compromise.
थोड़ा करना पड़ेगा भाई.
नहीं.
तो advertising में कैसा चलता है फिर?
नहीं, I didn't compromise.
Never once with the
Never
client?
once.
The client said, I want this.
I did it. Okay? And it was a disaster. Then I redid it my way. And I showed them both the versions. And I said, see, this is the way we wanted me to do it, and I was reluctant. This is the way I want to do it. And I think it works because I'm going to put it on my show reel. And now you can use either.
Wow. So that's a new book, No Compromise. Simple. Which is also a fascist state in a way. No compromise here.
No, but you don't compromise against values, against the value system that you create. So if you create a value system, why? How would you compromise that?
True, but I'm just thinking, I'm trying to remember your conversations on a set when you're dealing with clients and client servicing, so to speak, or whatever, on the set, in the heat of the moment also, because you manage to, that's another art. Keep them happy and yet do your thing. You know,
or keep them unhappy and still do my thing.
And still do your thing. No, but they come back. See, the proof of the thing is that they come back.
They come back because they get credit for what I've done.
Yeah, but the thing is that it worked. No, the marriage worked in some way or the other.
Yeah.
So that is the other art form that you have to explain to us next time you come here, which is how you keep everybody, keep your integrity and yet keep them happy.
One of the best ways to handle clients is when they have the long drawn out PPMs, the pre-production meetings, and they start wanting you to spell out different things. You go there and go to sleep with your eyes open. Okay? And keep nodding. And saying yes.
So like school.
Yes. Yeah, you keep saying yes, and wrap up the meeting as quickly as possible and say, brilliant, let's go. Because you already know what you want to do with it.
God, this sounds like my podcast. Yeah, no, fantastic. Okay, Prahlad, we have to stop here. Electricity is going to go any moment now because we've taken too long. Again, he's spoken too much. But what a fantastic story. It's called the Adman. Madman. Madman is tongue-in-cheek. His publishers are calling for part 3. Take the call, Prahlad, please. You're far too important. And we'll try and get him back one more time if we can. Not just about the book, but more about the life and times of Prahlad Kakar, who's now checking out while his wife's in South Africa. Some girl called Pooja is calling. And he's, in between. Client, right? Okay, that's it, bro. We're done. It's back up.
Yes. Terrific.